So, when you think about life in space, what comes to mind? Rockets, right? Weightlessness, floating around. But what about something a bit more personal, like dinner? We're going to dig into how one of our oldest rituals, sharing a meal, is being totally reimagined for the final frontier.
Here on Earth, food is, well, it's everything. It's the language of our communities. It's how we celebrate, how we grieve, how we connect with the people that we love. Every single meal tells a story. It is the bedrock of culture.
But the second you leave our planet, gravity, our silent partner in every single meal we've ever had, is just gone. And all of a sudden, the simple act of eating becomes this incredibly complex dance with physics. So how do you hold on to something so human in a place that is so alien?
And that, my friends, is what we're calling the zero-G dinner dilemma. And this isn't just about nutrition, getting enough calories to get through the day. This is about fighting the laws of physics just to have a decent meal.
I mean, just think about it. Down here, gravity keeps your coffee in the mug and the toast crumbs on your plate. But up there, a single floating drop of coffee could short out a critical piece of equipment. And a crumb isn't just messy, it's a floating hazard an astronaut could actually inhale.
And this is where it gets really personal, because some of our most beloved comfort foods become absolute logistical nightmares. Imagine trying to eat a hot bowl of ramen. The broth and noodles would just drift away. Or natto, the traditional Japanese fermented soybeans. That signature stickiness suddenly becomes a huge problem.
And yeah, space agencies have tried to solve this, but the solutions kind of prove the point. They made a space-safe ramen with a super thick broth and little noodle balls to prevent splashes. And while the taste might be okay, the feeling of eating ramen, that satisfying slurp and texture, it's just gone.
If you've ever had natto, you know it's all about those long, sticky strings. On Earth, that's part of the whole experience. But in zero gravity, those strings would get absolutely everywhere. A sticky, unmanageable mess. For a food that's so important to Japanese culture, that's a massive hurdle to clear. So, you're facing these huge challenges. Does that mean we give up on good food in space? Absolutely not. In fact, this is where things get really, really clever.
Okay, so enter ASTRAX, a commercial space services company from Japan. Their whole philosophy is basically, why should we compromise? Instead of accepting a weird, space-only version of food, they're focused on inventing the technology to make the real deal earthly experience possible up there.
Let's take takoyaki. Those amazing Japanese octopus balls. On Earth, you need that special open pan with all the little dimples. How in the world do you do that in space? Well, ASTRAX came up with this brilliant idea, a totally sealed spherical mold. You put the octopus in, you inject the batter, and then you seal it up tight. And this is where it gets really wild. They toss those sealed balls into a special oven, where they literally just bounce off the walls. This cooks them perfectly and evenly on all sides. No spills, no mess, nothing. You just collect them, crack them open, and serve. It is a complete reinvention of cooking for a zero-G world.
So, what about our sticky natto problem? Well, funny enough, the solution was already waiting for us, right here on Earth. See, to appeal to a wider market, some companies had already made less stringy versions. What was made for a picky customer on the ground turned out to be the perfect fix for orbit.
Okay, but grilling? You can't exactly have an open flame or a bunch of smoke floating around a space station, right? Obvious no-go. The solution? ASTRAX is working on a special coil-type grill. You put a skewer of meat inside a heated coil, and it cooks it perfectly while containing all the smoke and oil. This is the key to bringing Japanese yakitori to space.
So we've got bouncing takoyaki and smokeless grills. You might be thinking, why go through all this trouble? Is it really just for a snack? And the answer is a definitive no. This is about something way more important than just filling your stomach.
It all comes down to this really simple idea. If space travel is ever going to be for everyone, not just highly trained specialist astronauts, then space needs to feel less alien. It needs to feel more like home. And honestly, what feels more like home than a familiar meal?
And you just can't overstate how important this is psychologically. I mean, imagine you're in this high-stress, isolated place, millions of miles from everything you've ever known. A familiar meal isn't just food at that point. It's comfort. It's stress relief. It's a chance to connect with your crew. It is a direct, tangible link back home.
And that brings us to the next big leap, right? Moving beyond just reheating stuff that's already been packaged and getting to a place where people are actually cooking from scratch. And that means we need to figure out how to transport staple ingredients, like one of the most basic, versatile foods there is, eggs.
ASTRAX has actually thought this through. They've mapped out a whole strategy for eggs. For a short flight of a few hours, you can just bring them raw. A mission for a few days, chilled boiled eggs will do the trick. But for months-long stays on the Moon or Mars, well, you'd need long-lasting hard-boiled eggs. Or, and this is the amazing part, you could just bring the chickens with you.
So with all this incredible innovation, where are we all headed? What does the future of flavor actually look like when we leave Earth?
What we're seeing here is a fundamental shift in how we think about food in space. For the entire history of spaceflight, food has been about one thing: survival. Squeezing some nutrient paste out of a tube. But now, the goal is to get away from mere survival and to create a true food culture, one built around enjoyment and community and shared experiences.
And ASTRAX's vision for this future is it's awesome. They're not just thinking about some sterile cafeteria. They imagine a space izakaya, a casual pub orbiting the Earth, a place where the crew can unwind after a long day, share some fresh takoyaki, and just connect with each other. It's about bringing the social heart of our food culture right up there to the stars.
Which really leaves us with this one big, fascinating question. As we start to expand out into the solar system, our idea of home is going to change. And a huge part of that is going to be defined by the tastes and the smells and the rituals that we decide to bring with us. The food we eat out there won't just be about keeping our bodies alive. It'll be about keeping us human.